Hi, I'm Megan. Let's make this case brief. Today we are doing one of my absolute favorite cases that I loved briefing in my criminal procedure case. It's United States versus Havens. And I love this case because I just think it's so silly. However, if you've taken evidence or you plan on taking evidence soon, this also brings up a really good point about things that you can bring into evidence or ask about if you're on trial. So let's just dive right in. Picture this, it's the 80s, you're in the Miami airport and you just flown back from Peru and a TSA officer stops you. So the guy is stopped by the TSA officer who says, show me your shirt, our dogs are going off. And this guy, we'll call him McLuroff because that was his name in the case, shows the officer his shirt, and wouldn't you know it, there's packages of flour sewn into pockets on the t-shirt. And the TSA officer says, these are illegal. And McElroth says, no, you don't understand. There was a man on the plane who sewed in all of this onto my shirt. Typical. And the TSA officers are like, who did it? And McElroth, like a good accomplice, is like, that guy right there. That guy was Havens. So the officers do a warrantless search of the suitcase, and for your evidence cases, this is usually stuff that you're not going to be able to bring into court. And wouldn't you know it, in this search, they find a t-shirt that just happens to have the exact same cutouts for the shirt that our guy with the flour sewn into his pockets was wearing. So they take these guys to court, and unfortunately, this material is suppressed in a pretrial motion, as we all kind of guessed it was going to happen. However, you can still ask somebody about this, because on the stand, Havens goes up and he says he was not involved with any of this material that was draped or taped around McLuroff's body. So of course, this is where he denies, which usually maybe is a good strategy, but not this time. Because what does the prosecutor do? He brings in the agent that did the warrantless search. So, can't bring any of the materials that they found in the search, but they ask the TSA officer about it, and he brings to mind that, yep, all this stuff was found in this particular piece of luggage. So basically, he made Havens look like a liar on the stand, which is bad, very bad. So this rebuttal by the officer is used to impeach Havens' testimony, and he is found guilty. And Havens appeals because he's like, you shouldn't have been able to ask me about that. That was a warrantless search. You can't ask about evidence that's in a warrantless search, and especially if you haven't brought it to trial. So the issue here is, should they have been able to ask Havens about a piece of evidence that was illegally obtained, but he was just asked about it? And the answer that the courts come up with is, yes, you can be asked about it. You just can't do things like lie about it. The courts say, yeah, that t-shirt was obtained in an illegal search. That's why we didn't bring it in the first place. And it's kind of up in the air about whether or not technically you should have been asked about it. The key here is that Havens lied about having the t-shirt and knowing where it came from. The number one rule when you go to trial is that you don't lie on the stand. That means even if the prosecutor is asking you about something that they might not be supposed to ask you about, you can't stand on cross-exam and lie about it, since technically they're not bringing the materials of the suitcase into court, they're just asking you about your suitcase. You can't lie and say that you didn't have anything in your suitcase. Asking if you know if there was anything in there is a completely appropriate question to ask. So there better not be a guy who can get on the stand and say something completely different happened, because guess what? That makes you a liar. However, remember that this case rule only really comes into play when it comes to impeachment, or if you're trying to throw out somebody's testimony. That's when this Havens rule comes into play. And if you take away anything from this case, don't lie on the stand.